probably too close.
This is the Memorial Day Black Wall Street BOB presents our virtual-thon for today, and we have our guest feature ready. My name is Deuce Terry, and this is LaShon the Voicestress.
Yes, and we are going to bring on our special guest today, Dr. Umar, who's going to come and speak to us about the past, present, and future, and other related topics concerning Black Wall Street and the Tulsa, Oklahoma massacre. Dr. Umar, you have the floor.
And then after and I'm joining you all from Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma, so the 103rd Memorial March here at the Greenwood. open, I believe, just after COVID crisis. I would like, but disappointed because I feel museum
Should we?
Oklahoma made the 39th. I on but what I observed or did read massacre. Luckily, early on, Oklahoma court who are still breathing and walking on the most levels, which are speak of the need for what but we must dollar does not have but if money is the most important, I ask for it. For other things, the rest from African people just in Oklahoma. Let me say that again. 20 million acres of land was stolen from African people just in Oklahoma. So imagine how many hundreds of millions of acres of land was stolen illegally and unjustifiably from Black people all over this country in the immediate aftermath of slavery all the way up to the present day. So we need a reparations land task force to investigate all stolen land at our settlement. Don't get land, then we have no basis for equality. If we don't get land, we have no basis for nationhood. If we don't get land, we have no basis for freedom. We need land. And any reparations demands that is not dealing with Black people acquiring a significant portion of this land is a superficial reparations argument that we should cast aside. Now let's go to internal reparations. Because all the talk that we have about reparations, I don't hear enough conversation about what do we owe ourselves and what do we owe our ancestors. And the reason I'm bringing this up, brothers and sisters, is for all of the Black Wall Street celebrations we have all over this country, and rightfully so, and rightfully so. Why are we not talking about erecting a contemporary Black Wall Street for African people in America? It's been 103 years since Tulsa. It's been 103 years since Tulsa, and we're still talking about Black Wall Street. Why are we not building Black Wall Street? There's not a single Black community in this country. I don't care if you talk about working class Africans. I don't care if you talk about underclass Africans. I don't care if you talk about upper class Africans or even the Black bourgeoisie. Nowhere in Black America do we have a Black Wall Street today. Not even amongst rich Blacks, because most of us are so comfortable with trying to force our way into the European social society because we don't think being around Black people is good enough for us. And as a result of that, nowhere in this country can you find a Black bank owned by African people in the same community where you have a Black supermarket owned by African people, in the same community where you have an independent Black school owned by African people. Charter schools are not independent schools, they are publicly funded and publicly controlled. So they do not count for the purposes of this conversation. So if we don't have an independent Black supermarket, how do we feed the people? If we don't have an independent Black school, how do we teach the people? If we don't have an independent Black hospital, how do we save the people? And if we don't have an independent Black bank, how do we invest in the people? The supermarket, the school, the bank, and the hospital are the four essential institutions of an independent community. We are a $2 trillion people, and yet we don't control. Invest in the people. We do not own those four institutions in any city, any town, any state, any county in the United States of America, although we are the richest group of African people in the world in terms of income pay. And the problem with us is we're more concerned with pleasure and appearances. Every time you turn around, somebody's throwing a party. Every time you turn around, somebody's throwing a vacation. Every time you turn around, somebody's throwing a cruise. What if we were as committed to our political and economic liberation as we were to celebrations. We are always celebrating, but I don't see enough interest around liberation. Celebrating what? Are we paying attention to the sexual trafficking crisis that black girls are facing right now? Are we paying attention to the black on black male fratricide crisis that's covering this country right now? Are we not aware that we have the highest black homelessness rate in America since the days that Dr. King walked the earth? We haven't seen this many homeless black people in this country since the 1960s. Have we forgotten about the mass incarceration crisis in this country and how these racist judges are giving out dozens of years for the most petty of crimes? I'm part of a situation right now in Bunell, Florida, where a young black man by the name of Brendan Depper, 18 years old, 1 year ago on Malcolm X's Earth Day, May 19th of 2023, he assaulted a teacher's aide, which was wrong and unacceptable, even though the teacher's aide was a Caucasian. However, Brendan Depper was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, autism, anxiety disorder, ADHD, conduct disorder, intermittent explosive disorder, and his IEP expressly stated that you should never take anything out of his hands because that becomes a trigger for his PTSD and his intermittent explosive disorder. But what did the privileged white snow bunny do? She took the game out of his hands anyway. That triggered him. He attacked her. She's still alive. She's still doing well. White folks hope to help her raise a whole bunch of money on GoFundMe. But the point that I'm bringing this up, or the reason why I'm bringing this up, is Brendan Depper is on trial. He was adjudicated as an adult instead of a juvenile. He can spend as much as 30 years in prison. We were at the last hearing. We'll be at the next hearing on August the 6th. All of your listeners, we encourage you to join us at the Kim C. Hammond Criminal Justice Center in Bunell, Florida on August the 6th, because we're trying to encourage this judge not to sentence this black boy to 30 years in jail for punching a teacher. We see white people get less for killing black people. Okay, you get less for killing black people. He can get 30 years for punching a white teacher. But I'm bringing this up only to say that we as African people have the financial wherewithal to solve most of our problems ourselves. We have no business waiting for Joe Biden or Donald Trump to get reelected. Any black person who says we have to wait on a presidential election 5 months away from now to get our act together is an absolute denial of our own responsibility to solve our own problems. I got news for black America. The Republican Party isn't thinking about you. I got news for black America. The Democratic Party isn't thinking about you. The future of America will be an America without black people, or an America where most black people, except your celebrities, will constitute the majority of the American underclass. They are bringing in the immigrants, they are bringing in the migrants to replace black people. The migrants are in Chicago and New York. Can y'all still hear me? Y'all can still hear me. Okay. I heard myself, something I said earlier was replaying, so I wasn't sure. This is my first time on Twitch. But with that being said, the migrants are here to exhaust all of the social services of this country, so there's nothing left for poor blacks. The migrants are here to take up all of the social service jobs, so there's nothing left for black people. We are being replaced right now. You have to ask yourself, why would they send all of these migrants to the two most crowded black cities in America? New York and Chicago are two of the most populated cities in America. They're the two largest black cities in America. Why do you send the migrants to Wyoming? Why do you send the migrants to Oklahoma? Why do you send the migrants to Montana or North Dakota or South Dakota or New Hampshire or Maine? States that have a very small population. You know why they sent them to New York and Chicago? Because they're here to replace us. And the Democratic National Convention is coming up in Chicago this Black August. And I hope to God that Black Chicago does not waste this opportunity to show up and show out and show the Democratic and the Republican Party that we are not going to take being replaced and run out of town by these non-African people. We are not going to take it lightly. We are at war. But financially, we can fix this. Financially, we can fix this. You can start a credit union with less than $1 million. You can start a bank with about $1 million. We spend more than that in a day on fast food. We spend more than that in a day on hair. We spend more than that a day in a restaurant. The problem that is facing African people is primarily a problem of a lack of psychological commitment to our own success and our own survival. Most Black people are absolutely contemptuous towards other Black people. We don't want to work together. We don't want to organize. The only time you can get us to pay attention to our own condition is when you cloak the situation in the context of a religious reality. So if it ain't the Muslims, if it ain't the Christians, if it ain't the masjid, if it ain't the church, Black people are not interested. We're the only people who you cannot organize outside of religion. And if we do not break that spell that was put on us by the plantation, we're not going to survive this. If we don't get our act together by 2050, I don't know what we're going to look like in 2200. Our children are being miseducated on purpose to make sure that they can't compete with Asians, so they can't compete with Caucasians, so they cannot compete with European Jews. We are raising Black boys to worship athletics. No disrespect to all of my AAU coaches out there, but I'm trying to understand how every other Black boy is in AAU football, AAU basketball, and half of them can't even read on their grade level. So, what is the benefit of Black boys spending all summer in sports when most of them can't read on grade level? According to a statistic I saw from the United States Department of Education, half of the Black boys in fourth grade in this country cannot read on their grade level. And half of the Black boys in eighth grade in this country cannot count on grade level. That is a Holocaust. That is a Holocaust. How are we ever going to catch up if we're not making sure our children are committed to academic excellence? And then we have to also deal with the fact that we have to stop sending all of our children to college and start sending them back to the trade schools. When you look at the statistics on who the new plumbers are, who the new electricians are, the HVAC techs, the roofers, the welders, the auto mechanics, Latino, Asian, and Asian. Black people have turned their backs on the industrial building trades, which is what I refer to as the skills that pay the bills. The problem with the Black community is we no longer have the licenses and the certifications necessary to make the money in the trade skills that pay the bills. And as a result of that, what that family, 2 million American Africans with master's degrees and doctorate degrees who are unemployed. These are the educated Black people. They can't find jobs. You know why? Because white America does not hire Black folks. If you look at our Black middle class, it is largely composed of teachers, police, public transportation, post office. It is the service jobs. Without those service jobs, which are very important, but without those service jobs, there would be no Black middle class. The Black middle class is an invention of white society to make Black people think that we're moving up and doing better, when the truth of the matter is we are going nowhere at all. When you look at the traditional definition of class, class refers to ownership of wealth in one's society. Black people don't own no wealth in American society. Even our celebrities don't even own no wealth in American society. So, how can you define class as education and occupation and not include wealth in that description? Because that's how America defines class today. America defines your class, middle class, lower class, upper middle class, by your occupation and your education. So let me give an example of how misleading that this can be. You have a single Black mother. She has 4 children. She has a master's degree. She's a public school teacher. She's making about $50,000, $60,000 a year, but she's raising 4 children on her own with no help. According to the US government, she's middle class. But in reality, she's dancing right around the poverty line because once she gets finished paying for daycare, and once she get finished paying for preschool, and once she get finished paying for private school and paying the rent or the mortgage and the insurance and the car bills and everything else, that single black mother who's being considered middle class by American society is almost in poverty. Remember, the definition of power is the ability to define reality and to make other people accept that reality. The black dollar only circulates 6 hours before it leaves our community. You're not building a black Wall Street with that. Let me say this again. The black dollar only circulates 6 minutes before, 6 hours before it leaves the black community. How are you going to build Black Wall Street? Black Wall Street, systemically speaking, is when black institutions work together to feed off of one another and to make sure they share the wealth that comes into those businesses from the community. So the supermarket is handing you off to the barbershop. The barbershop is handing you off to the hair salon. The hair salon is handing you off to the dry cleaner. The dry cleaner is handing you off to the auto mall. The auto mall is handing you off to the strip mall. The strip mall is handing you off to the daycare center. The daycare center is handing you off to the massage parlor. That's what a Black Wall Street is. Cooperative economics. But the one conversation you never hear black people talking about in this country is what? Economic collaboration. I'm going to say it again. Economic collaboration and financial solidarity. I have never seen a flyer. I have never seen a flyer in my life advertising a meeting to talk about financial solidarity and economic collaboration amongst black people. We never talk about that. You know why? Because black people are only committed to freedom, justice, and equality to the point where we don't have to spend our money. We will vote if you want us to vote. We will pray if you want us to pray. We will march if you want us to march. But don't you ask me to dig in my pocket and give you nothing consistently and systemically over a protracted period of time. But that's exactly what Mexicans did to get where they are. That's exactly what Asians did to get where they are. That's exactly what the Arabs did to get where they are. That's exactly what the Anglo-Saxons and the Jews did to get where they are. Every culture in America practices economic solidarity and financial cooperation except black people. There is no way you can give 95% of your money to other cultures and expect to build any type of political economic infrastructure in your community. And if we are really that serious about building a 21st century Black Wall Street, if we are really that serious about replicating what our ancestors did here in the city of Tulsa 103 years ago, well, guess what? There's over a dozen American cities for sale right now. There's over a dozen American cities for sale right now. In fact, I'm going to give you a few cities for sale because sometimes we make a lot of excuses for why we ain't doing better. 15 American towns that you can buy. Listen to this. Wait a minute. Let me go back. January 26, 2024. These towns across America are for sale. Let me give you a few of them. I wanted the one with the prices. There was one that had the prices. Let me go back to the other one because they're not very expensive either. Oh, Hell, Michigan, Prey, Montana, Toomsboro, Georgia. Okay, here you go. Hell, Michigan, $900,000 for the whole city. Hell, Michigan, $900,000. Sweat, South Dakota, $250,000. Lobo, Texas, $100,000. Silverton, Colorado, they want $1.5 million for the whole town. Wilcox, Arizona.
That's cheaper than the price of a small island, right?
Absolutely. So my point is, if we that serious, we can buy up all the towns. I mean, listen, $30 million on hair care and weave, $2 billion on Jordans every year, $1 billion on chicken, turkey, beef, and pork every year. We spend about $30 million on children's cologne, umpteen billions on video games and cell phones that our children shouldn't even have because most of them can't even read or count on grade level. I'm going to go back to Dr. Carter G. Woodson, father of Black History Month, who founded Negro History Week in 1927, while the most honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey was incarcerated in the Tombs prison in Atlanta. In Miseducation of the Negro, that every Black person needs to read, Dr. Carter G. Woodson brought up 3 points that I think were genius, absolutely genius. And for him to not be a psychologist, Miseducation of the Negro is thoroughly a psychological treatise on the state of Black mentality in this country. Point number 1, we don't need leaders, we need organizers and service people. All this talk about leadership. Leadership is important, but if you don't organize the people, the leaders can't lead. I'm going to say that again. If you don't organize the people, the leaders can't lead. What do they have in Congress? They have a majority whip and they have a minority whip. What is the job of the whip? To whip the party into shape so they can do what the party leadership needs them to do. Where are the whips for the Black community? Where's the whip for the Black community, whip for the Black community in Georgia? Where's the whip for the Black community in Chicago and Detroit and Milwaukee and Oakland? Where's the whip? Who's responsible for whipping our people into shape psychologically so we can follow the party line of what we need to be doing as African people? So that's number 1. You need organizers more than you need leaders. There's no need to talk about leadership until you first organize the people. Because if the people aren't organized, the leaders cannot do their job. So that was one point that Dr. Carter G. Woodson brought out, Miseducation of the Negro. Second point that he brought out was that college-educated Negroes are the least likely to lead us to the promised land. Now, this is going to hurt a lot of people's feelings, but Black people believe, and we have been taught and conditioned and indoctrinated by the American power structure into believing that if we're going to make it, if we're going to achieve freedom, justice, and equality, educated Blacks are going to take us there. Nothing could be further from the truth. I know Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois, God rest his soul, was the father of the talented 10th philosophy. Well, guess what? That talented 10th philosophy joined the ancestors with him, because the most educated Blacks are the most selfish Blacks. They're the most egotistical Blacks. They're the most self-serving Blacks, and they are the ones that are most loyal to the power structure. Our leadership needs to be a grassroots Fannie Lou Hamer leadership. It needs to be a Medgar Evers grassroots leadership. Educated Black people are not going to take us to the promised land. And the third point that he brought up, Dr. Carter G. Woodson, and there's many of them, is when he talked about the fact that when you control a man's mind, you don't have to worry about his actions. You don't have to tell him what to do because he's already been trained in how to do what you need him to do. He said you don't have to send him to the back door. He will get up and go to the back door on his own. When he gets to the back door, if there is no back door, he will create a back door and walk out of it. That is Black people in America. We have been freed, and then we were trained. We were freed from slavery, and then we were trained on how to work for the same people that enslaved us. And there's no way you're going to break out of this psychosis of psychological dependence on Caucasian people and Caucasian culture and Caucasian infrastructure until we start educating our own children. The first 2 steps of building Black Wall Street in the 21st century for our people, right here and right now, the first 2 steps, education and economics. Education and economics. Frederick Douglass, and this is one of the major slogans for the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy. Frederick Douglass said, "It is better to raise strong children than to repair broken men." It is better to raise strong children than to repair broken men. He wasn't a psychologist either, but I don't think I've ever heard of a more truthful statement on psychology than that. The point that I'm making is we have to stop giving our children to white public schools, white private schools, white charter schools, white parochial schools, letting them become Negro peonized. And then after they've been Negro peonized for the first 17 years of their life, we want to re-Africanize them. If that's not the most backwards socialization process I've ever heard in my life, I'm going to give my kids to people who I know don't like them, and I'm going to let them Negro peonize my African children. And after 17 and 18 years of being Negro peonized, I'm going to try to re-Africanize them. Nobody else does that but Black folks. folks. And the reason why we're always working in reverse, the reason why we're so politically, socially, and economically reactionary, brothers and sisters, is due to the fact we don't have enough love. I want to make this point very clear. We do not have enough collective love for each other to do things right the first time. I want to say this again because people always say, why are we always reacting to what the police do? Why are we always reacting to what the president do? Why are we always reacting to what the government does? Why are we always reacting to what white people do? You know why we always reacting? Because we don't have enough love to do things for ourselves. We don't have enough love that generates the motivation and the initiative to educate our kids on our own before they are miseducated. We don't have enough love to generate the initiative to employ Black people ourselves before they start breaking the law. We don't have enough love to do what needs to be done in the beginning. And as a result of that, we are always reacting to what other people do. When we marched for George Floyd, when we burned down Ferguson, Missouri, when we marched for Freddie Gray, Philando Castile, Breonna Taylor, Alton Sterling, Amir Locke, Dante, that was out of pain and hurt, not love. I want to be very clear. Pain, anger, and hurt can burn something down. It can tear something up. It can destroy a community. But let me ask you a question. Did we go back to any of those communities and use our money and sacrifice our time and sacrifice our energy to build those communities up the same way we tore them down? Hell no. Do not mistake anger for love. Black people got a whole bunch of anger, but they don't have enough love. Question. Do y'all have any I'm new to Twitch, so I don't even know where the chat is. If there's a chat.
We were reading the chat from the YouTube stream from BOB Rewards Club. We try not to intervene because there was some feedback from the stream. So we didn't want to, know your time is valuable. But we do have some questions, if you don't mind, if you do have the time. Go ahead. Why I'm sorry. So you say you was there live. You're there right now in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And when I was doing research on a particular subject, because most Black Americans, we can say it like that, had not even heard about Black Wall Street or the massacre that had happened, or all the covering up that had occurred throughout the years amongst many different cities across the U.S. From 1906 all the way to 1923. But particularly, you're there live right now, and from what I've seen, Greenwood is not the same. Not even just the simple fact that they've built a highway right down the middle of Greenwood, but not only are there not any Black-owned businesses, there's not even a few, maybe one, two, or three original businesses that were there that the descendants were running at the time. They basically cleared them all out and raised the rent to make them move further north as gentrification works. Have you actually walked downtown while you were there and visited, correct?
Absolutely true. That you do have some Black businesses, uh, and they are trying to make a comeback here. I actually had a chance to visit some yesterday. But to your point, though, here's what I'm taking place in Tulsa, and I'm seeing it take place in other Black. They're taking care of birds with one, the white power struggle. This is precisely what I mean by that. Black people want us to acknowledge the Holocaust, the massacre, the ethnic cleansing. Black people want us to apologize. Black people want us to honor their dead whose lives we were responsible for having lost. Understand? So, this is what we're going to do. We're going to build a museum and we're going to put historical markers all around Tulsa commemorating the Tulsa Race Massacre. To politically uneducated Blacks, it looks like we are trying to make amends for what we did wrong. It looks like we are trying to atone for what happened 103 years ago. But do you know what they're really doing? To your point, they are basically creating a tourism situation where people will be drawn into Tulsa to learn about the massacre, not for the sake of honoring black people, but for the sake of vacation and spending money at the white shops in Tulsa. And so what they're doing is they're acting like they're appeasing us. But what they're really doing is creating an economic tourism venture with the Black Wall Street situation that will attract white people back to Tulsa who will move back, as you said, raise the property, raise the taxes, and buy up the whole city. And they're doing it under the banner of recognizing the tragedy. I see that not only here, I see it in other cities as well. And black people need to pay attention to this because we're so quick to say, oh, yes, white people are finally acknowledging our pain. They're finally acknowledging what they did to our ancestors. But you're missing the whole point. This isn't being done to honor you and your ancestors. This is being done to attract the tourist dollar to downtown Tulsa.
Right. Definitely 100% agree with you on that part. This is the burning question that I have had, and I'm so glad I get to direct it to you. Do you feel like segregation in a way was better?
He spoke on that before.
He did, okay.
Not today.
Okay.
Recent interviews.
Let me say this to that point, Queen, because you often hear African people say we did better under segregation. We did. But I understand why it became necessary to tear down the borders of separation because of the psychological impact it had on black people. To know you can't go in a certain section of the neighborhood because of your skin. To tell your child you can't go to the circus because of the color of your skin. To tell your high school graduate you can't go to a certain university because of the color of your skin. The badge of shame that segregation represented necessitated its destruction. Here's the mistake that we made. When Dr. King and the others struggled for desegregation, it was not for us to give up our institutions. It was not for us to walk away from our communities. It was not for us to stop educating our own children. They were not fighting for the destruction of black community. They were fighting for access to opportunities that we did not have. The destruction of segregation was about making sure we could access opportunities that we did not have. I'll give you an example. You have a child graduating from high school and they want to become an aerospace engineer. You look at the 100 and plus HBCUs, hypothetically. Let's say none of them have an aerospace engineering program, but your son wants to be an aerospace engineer. He's going to have to go to a PWI because none of the HBCUs have that. So do you tell your son, son, I know you wanted to be an aerospace engineer your whole life, but because you're black, you can no longer have that wish. You're going to have to choose something else that's being offered at the HBCUs because only the PWIs have aerospace engineering programs and you're black, so you can't go. How in the hell do you expect that boy to believe he's equal to any white man when his father just told him that the one thing he always wanted to be, he can't do it because he's black? And then still expect him to hold his head up when he's around white folks. So we had to destroy segregation. The problem is Dr. King, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, SNCC, CORE, the Freedom Riders, they underestimated the self-hate of Black America. They underestimated the psychological dependence that we had on white folks. They didn't know that the minute we had a chance to move into a white neighborhood, we will completely abandon the black neighborhoods. They didn't know that. They didn't know the minute that we had a chance to marry a white woman, we would abandon the black woman. So many black men. Now, most black men marry black women. That's true. But we have the highest out of race marriage rate. It's higher than all the other men put together they didn't know that. So I can't blame the ancestors for not understanding the self-hate that we had. Here's what we need to understand. Tulsa worked because white people refused your participation. Rosewood worked because white people refused your participation. Wilmington, North Carolina worked because white people refused your participation. What's stopping us from building Black Wall Street today? Our love for white acceptance and white proximity. You see, it ain't because of Dr. King. It ain't because of the civil rights movement. It's because the minute that average Negro had a chance to bank at a white bank, he left the black one. The minute he had a chance to move into a white neighborhood, he left the black one. The minute he had a chance to send his kid to a white school, he left the black one. We psychologically were made dependent on white people during slavery, 246 years in America, and we never healed from the psychological dependence that plantation slavery put in us. And until we address post traumatic slavery disease, you'll never get another Black Wall Street because we are too in love with proximity to whiteness to do anything for ourselves. Self determination. Self determination and the independence of spirit that built Black Wall Street, I'm not sure if we still have it within us as a people.
And I'm sorry. And to that point, right? If you could just explain to those who don't know how systematic it was, the long-term effects of Black Wall Street and those events like in Rosewood, how it affected long-term effects like the Urban Renewal Acts in the 1960s and the 1970s, and how they just did it all over again. If you could explain that for me.
I would argue that the urban renewal movement was conceived in the aftermath of the systemic destruction of not only Tulsa Black Wall Street, but all of the Black Wall Streets. And even in places where you didn't have Black Wall Streets and predominantly Black neighborhoods, in order to break up the Black economic power and in order to reduce the Black political power, they built highways right through the middle of predominantly Black communities to split the political power, destroy the solidarity, and sabotage the economics. They did it in Tulsa. They did it in Philadelphia. I don't even know if there's a major city where they didn't split up Black folks.
Atlanta for sure.
Atlanta for sure. You see, and see, this is where you got to have a conversation about your Black politicians. And I want to say this to any elected Black official, state rep, U.S. rep, state senator, U.S. senator, alder person, city council, mayor, lieutenant governor, whatever it is you do. I expect Black politicians themselves like Adam Clayton Powell anymore or Shirley Chisholm. We don't have them types no more. We've lost ourselves since integration. But you know the one thing I still expect from a Black politician and will not accept them not doing for us? And that is being a political snitch. That's all we need you for. I want every Black politician to hear me. We know you're not going to fight for resources. We know you're not going to challenge racism. We know you're not going to stop making deals behind the table for your own best interests. We know you're not going to stop taking money from non-Blacks for your campaigns. We know you're more loyal to the Democratic Party than the Black community. We understand that. But you know the one thing that they could do, y'all, it don't cost them no money. The white people won't even know they're doing it. Their political party bosses don't even have to know. And that is bring information back to us so we can strategize around the next campaign they about to hit us with. The Black politicians don't play spook who sat by the door. The only thing I need a Black mayor for, the only thing I need a Black city council, I don't care where you at. I don't care if you in Houston. I don't care if you in Atlanta. I don't care if you in Charlotte. The only thing I need a Black elected official for is to be a political snitch. Tell us they about to gentrify. Tell us they plotting on the Black community. Tell us what they gonna hit us with the COVID. Y'all be in these meetings. Y'all know what they planning because real estate planning is done 10, 20 years ahead of time. Y'all knew this 10, 20, and y'all didn't say a word. And that's what makes me so disgusted with our Negro politicians. Form us. If you if an elected official can't be a good snitch, we have no use for them because they're not going to do anything.
And they don't even get a piece of the pie.
Don't even get a piece of the pie. And you know what's crazy? They helped them gentrify our communities. Failing to realize that once they finish gentrifying, you will be moved from office. You're never going to. It's crazy because they're working against themselves. but they're so scared of white folks and so thirsty for the under the table money, you don't even realize that by helping them gentrify your community, you'll never get enough votes to be made.
The next question that I have is it may be a bit far reaching, and it's just kind of a working conspiracy that I have. So in the last 5 to 10 years, we've seen a boom in people advocating for African Americans to get help, mental health, mental health, mental health. And while I do feel like that is a necessity, I personally feel like, and I believe I've heard you say things similar, when you go get therapy, the people that you get therapy from should probably look a little more like you in order for them to be able to relate. However, with the my chart systems that are being erected where information is being kind of colluded all into one pot, I personally believe that at some point the HIPAA laws are going to be eradicated, and anyone, black or white, with certain mental diagnosis will also be put in the category to not be able to defend themselves, i.e., not be able to have guns or certain employment and all types of things. Do you feel like that may be something on the horizon that may come within the next 10, maybe 20 years?
I are advising already. For example, you have been diagnosed with a mental, you can be hospitalized, diagnosed with mental, you technically carry a concealed weapon anywhere in America. If you have a medical marijuana card, you cannot carry a concealed weapon. A lot of people don't even know this. If you have a medical marijuana card, you cannot conceal carry. So illness, you cannot conceal carry. Psychiatric, you cannot carry. It's already now. I'm glad you brought up exploitation. Let us be absolute about something. White can't solve problems because white psychology created black people's problems. Now, let me explain what I just said. Who created the system of segregation and eugenics in America? White. Who created the system of apartheid? White psychology. Who created the system of the superior race in London, England? A white psychology. I want to make sure we understand psychology more than any other field in modern history is responsible for the dehumanization of African, responsible for the colonization of Africa itself. The psychologists were the ones who said we were inferior. Psychologists were the ones who said we were half human. How you that your problems and expect them to help? You know what they're doing now? They are diagnosing every black person who goes in for a psychological evaluation. You're getting diagnosed as bipolar. I met a person yesterday here in Oklahoma who told me they diagnosed their grandson at 3 years old at bipolar. How the hell are you bipolar at 3 years old? Here's mental health in America is multi-billion-dollar. The drug Wall Street sell the Ritalin, that sell the Depakote, sell the Prozac, that sell the Risperdal. These multi corporations. It's all about making money. Nobody wants to help black. They just in the name. They don't have. They have to diagnose you. Let me say that they don't have to get paid in the world of mental health. All they have to do is diagnose you, prove they spent time. Do y'all see? Payment is progress. It's psychological and time spent in treatment. That's it. So you might be just as crazy, you might be just as depressed, you might be just as bipolar, borderline, and explosive, whatever issue you got, suicide off of you. They are using black in this mental health campaign to make you go higher so you can get a diet, so you can pay, so you can get a prescription and go get you some medicine and get paid. Understand, in the world of mental health, the more problems, the more money. What Notorious Big say? More money, more problems. It's more problems, more money. If you get a diagnosis, that's money. You need therapy, you need, that's money. You need hospitalization, that's money. You need case management, money. You see how it works? The clearer I make it look, the more money I get paid.
I did not, but I did ask anybody in the chat if they had any questions. But it's really last 5 minutes, Dr. Umar. We don't want to hold you up too long. We know you have a long list of itinerary throughout your day, but we do appreciate the opportunity. We're very grateful for the opportunity as well. Me and LaShon. I know Miss Michelle is very grateful as well for the BOB Awards Club and this opportunity.
People reach out to him and like
Yes, if anybody else had any questions, how do we reach out to you on social media? Go ahead and give them your socials.
Anyone who needs to reach me, my cell phone number, I do not answer the phone, so do not call me. You'll never get me on the phone. You can text message me, and I'll always find all my text messages, unless it's something ridiculous, like, is it okay if I think a white girl, red, black, crazy, black? Okay? 215 985. Not direct cell, nobody but 1-98985. One more time, 215-989-58. I also want to say that we're putting the finishing touches on the Frederick Douglass Harvey Academy. Goes well, we may be having this September. I'm going to ask, go to my social media, click on my and subscribe to my mailing list. I just started this, start sending out a monthly newsletter. What's going on with Dr. Umar, the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey campaign, other projects. Go to my Twitter, my Instagram, uh, Facebook, and what am I leaving now? TikTok. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Click on my link tree, subscribe to the mailing list. I do want to let listeners know that I will be in Omaha on Saturday. I know that's a few hours drive from Minneapolis. For those who are interested, I will be in Omaha for a Pan African conference Saturday first from 4 until 7. That will be at the Assembly of Saints, 4024 North 24th Street. And flyer for that, text 215-989-5.
Was there anything else that you wanted to close out with? All right. Well, peace and blessings to you, brother. Once again, we're very thankful. Happy Memorial Day to all the veterans out there. I'm a veteran myself. And LaShon, did you want to close out?
it's just an honor. I just want to thank you so much for taking the time and the patience of working through our technical difficulties. But we are very appreciative of you coming on and enlightening us with all of your passion. And we will definitely make sure everybody has your number and the information
Subscribe
to
to the
subscribe.
newsletter.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
All right, brother. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
All right, and we're going to go ahead and move along with the program. See what we have scheduled next up. We're going to be right back. If you go ahead and transition for me, we're going to be right back. We're going to give you a commercial break, and we'll be right back with the BOB Rewards Club Black Wall Street Days.
Yes, sir. I sure can. Okay, awesome.
All right, and we are back with Black Wall Street Days brought to you by BOB Rewards Club. Once again, my name is Deuce Terry,
And I'm LaShon, the boisterous.
and we have one of our BOB Reward Clubs member here with us. It was interrupted early. We were having some technical difficulties, but we're bringing Miss Tammy Martin back on the stream with,
KR, KR,
make sure I said it correctly, I'm sorry,
KRC.
KRC Bookstore. And here we go. Bring
KRC.
KRC. I said it right?
I think I said B.
I got you. How you doing, Miss Tammy?
I am doing excellent. How you doing?
We are sorry about earlier. Did you catch Dr. Umar?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's
All
no
right.
problem. It happens.
We think we worked out all the audio issues that we had earlier, so this should go pretty smooth, okay?
Okay.
All right, so like you were saying earlier, we just want you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about KRC Bookstore.
Okay. Well, like you said, my name is Tammy Martin, and I am the owner of a few companies. Um, Everything I do, I try to do to build the Black community. So that's what my platform is about. I own a company by the name of KRC Companies, which consists of KRC Tax and Business Services. We deal with the financial Black side of everything. We do tax preparation. We do tax advising, as well as we offer life insurance. I'm a big advocate of life insurance because I'm a product of life insurance. My brother died at a very early age, so I understand that aspect of it. But today I'm about KRC Bookstore. We are about inspiration and empowerment, education and encouragement. We are, in the Christian community, we're taught that our people perish due to lack of knowledge, and that just stands true with everything. Whether you're talking about it practically, or you're talking about a community, or whatever the situation being, that stands true. So where you find education, you find it in a book, and so that is the purpose of creating this platform, KRC Bookstore. I started out as an author myself, and after getting a few books, I wanted to be able to sell all of them and also share my platform with other Black authors who are going through the same things that I'm going through as an author, as a business owner, building that platform. And the big major thing is marketing. And so that's what KRC Bookstore stemmed from. Um, it's about marketing your book, getting your information out there, getting your platform out there. Whether you're dealing with hurt, whether you're dealing with insignificant, feeling insignificant, not feeling empowered, not being inspired, wherever you're lacking at, that's keeping you from being your great self. And unfortunately, our Black community is really, really at the bottom of the totem pole. And unfortunately, as hard as we try to climb up, things come along and it pushes us back down. But it's so important to have a community to rally around, those who are struggling. And if you're lacking, then you can't help somebody else. And for me, one of those big major things start with educating. Um, opening up, those four corners of that book and peeling it back and, reading those words. And so we have over 54 books in the bookstore. We do it. We're about community. So we have books that will encourage the woman, adult woman, the adult man, as well as the children. All our books have beautiful Black babies on them. We're about letting our kids know that they are relevant and they are important and they deserve to be loved and they deserve to ask for the best, no matter what they look like, no matter what society is trying to tell them that they are or are not.
And you did say that you were a published author, right? Do you have any of your books on hand that you maybe want to show us and talk about?
I sure do. This is actually my first book. This was a self-published book that I created. Why do refunds so low? In order to strive as a community, you have to have businesses. Yes, you have to have workers, but you also have to have businesses to be able to employ your workers. And in this U.S., we pay taxes, and so in order to be right, it's just right to be right. Um, Taxes look different for business owners. You go from having somebody else taking care of your taxes if you're doing a 9 to 5 to doing your own taxes. And so you have to learn how to write these things out. And the IRS publications give a plethora of information, but it's sometimes it's hard to cipher through between that information because all the double talk and so forth. And that's what this book talks about beyond the IRS publications, the different things that you can write out, how things look different, how it's important to keep records and all that kind of stuff. You got to be informed, and when you don't know what you don't know, and that's what this book talks about. Some of the major things with having a business and how it looks different on taxes. And so I'm a tax professional by trade, and so I created this book.
Well, if you don't know as well, I hate to do a shameless plug. I know you said a lot of your books in your store Afrocentric, but we do have a book of our own that's pretty in pink
All
called Tip the Damn Waitress, where me and LaShon are the authors. We have a couple other books as well, but I just so happen to have that one on hand. We may have to send you a couple of copies so you can go ahead and plug us in as well.
Please
Absolutely.
do. I love it. I always love, having authors. I just get so excited when somebody gets to the point of wanting to write a book because I mean, when you're writing a book, it says that I know enough about this so I could put it in black and white, whatever the subject is, whatever is the life thing that you went through. I've been through enough where I can put it on black and white paper and I can send it out to the world and let the world know if you're going through something that I've been through or if you need to know this, if you've dealt with hurt, childhood trauma, that you're looking at this book and you're seeing this person that's looking like you, um, and they made it through.
Right. You're usually
So
not the same one
I
with
love
the only testimony. Someone else has gone through that same testimony as well.
yes, indeed. So, those things are so imperative. That's how you keep people down. That's how you keep a person down, is making them feel like, or them feeling like they're alone. And so that's the reason why we open this platform up. I love all genres of books, but if it doesn't fall in that particular category, I don't feel like we got enough of those things. We got the drama out there. You got more than enough reality shows, love and hip hop, and all the poisons out there.
Right,
So
Mari.
balance, yeah, balance out the poison, and put some good substance in there. The Bible teaches us that a man cannot live by bread alone. What does that mean? A
Amen.
man needs more than bread. If I'm eating bread all day and I'm not being fed mentally, then it doesn't do me a hill of beans.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I know that you have been a part of BOB for quite some time. Tell everybody how you connected with BOB Rewards and what it's done for your business so far.
Well, I'm really big on, some the algorithms of Facebook and Instagram, all those different things have all these weird, sometimes weird things going on with them. But I'm the type of person that this is something that I believe in. I believe in a platform of building the Black community. So I always seek out. I don't wait for those opportunities to come to me to be to seek out for different organizations that seem like they're about the black community. And so I had came across this, and I had the luxury of meeting Miss Michelle and her genuineness and her loving of her community and so forth. And I became a part of this community because this is something that I believe in, and this is something that's consistent. So often we do these different things and we don't have consistency in it, because consistency is important in all aspects, but especially if you're trying to build a particular community up. And you have to do things even when it's not paying a whole lot of money, even when it looks like, it looks bleak and so forth. And Bobby Wars Club is something that's been here for years, and I not never seen it stop. So I believe in this platform. I believe in the hard work that the amazing people of Bowery Rewards Club, do for the community. And it's consistent. It's not just one time out of the year. It's not just Black History Month. It's not just Juneteenth. It's something that's consistently going and consistently going. So I believe in this platform, and I love this platform, and I've always got support in it.
And wouldn't you agree that some of the things that Dr. Umar just talked about, the BOB Rewards Club in an economic way is a part of the fulfillment of what he advised?
I agree 100%. He hit some very, very, vital points about, why our community is in the position that we're in. And the thing that he talked about that just really brought it home for me is the fact is that um, it within segregation, yes, we got a lot of short ends of the stick, but we was together because we had nothing else. If I can't go in your establishment and go eat or what have you, I'm going to go to the community that's going to make me feel relaxed when I go in there, and I don't have to worry about have to go walking in the back door and all this kind of crazy stuff or what have you. But Martin Luther King said it, and this is a lot of his most unpopular speeches. These are the things that you don't see in regular society, regular media, and so forth. He basically said, I led my people into a burning building because he realized of the harm that it was causing. Yes, it was a lot of good in it, but it did cause a lot of harm, and that's something that really brought it home for me because it's unfortunate when we have to depend on each other as a community as a whole. Um, we we're right there and so forth. But if I have the option, if I can go over here and get this versus over here with my community to get that, I'm gonna go way over here, and that's so unfortunate. We're all great people. God put us all on this earth, but the reality is we're struggling, we're drowning, and so forth. So to take away from your community, because the bottom line is if the other community drops you like a hot potato, guess where you got to come back to?
Right.
So take care of what you have. Am I going to buy a house and then go over to Billy Bob's house and clean his house up and come back home and don't clean my house up? No, I need to clean my house. If
That's
my
Right.
right.
house is dirty and nasty, I need to clean my house. Why am I cleaning Billy Bob's house up when I got a house? So if you look at it like that, you have to look at that as the house as the community of the Black community, and Billy Bob as the other everybody else community. You can't take care of away from home and don't take care of home.
That's right. That's right. Please tell everybody how they can get in touch with you on social media or other methods so they can be a part of KRC Bookstore.
Okay. I am on I'm on Twitch now. Thank you, Bobby Bookstore. But I'm on Instagram. I am on Twitter, which is X now, Facebook, and I'm on Instagram and TikTok. And you can find me on all platforms. It's KRC Bookstore, KRC Bookstore across the board. Even my website, krcbookstore.com. And just to throw a extra bit of information out there for my business people and so forth, it's imperative that you brand your stuff. No matter what your social media you're on, make sure it says what your business is, and so it makes people make it easier to find you.
Right.
If I desire to support your business and patronize you, if I can't find you, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go and keep on going until I find something that I can do. If I'm looking for a T-shirt, I want to be to find you. I don't want to have to hunt for you. Everybody's not like me. I hunt people down, but in a good way, not in a bad way. I don't
Right.
do that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your patience with everything.
Thank you, Ms.
So
Martin.
glad to have you on and glad to see you again. I haven't seen you in about 2 years. But hopefully Juneteenth we can get down there and see you again soon.
All right.
Yes, ma'am. I look forward to it.
You have a great day. Thank you again.
You
And
too.
stay
Y'all
tuned
be
in.
very, very, very blessed. And y'all make sure y'all stay tuned in. Don't you go nowhere. We got a lot of great things going.
That's right. And if you are tuning in right now, don't forget to give us some love, give us a shout out. Go ahead and get in the chat, whether it be on Twitch or YouTube, from the Black Wall Street Days, from BOB, or from CEP-TV. We're going live from there as well. Just let us know if you can hear us. Let us know everything going smoothly. Let us know how you're enjoying it so far. This is the Virtualthon for Black Wall Street Days with BOB Rewards Club. And I'm Deuce Terry. This is LaShon, and we'll be right back after this commercial break.
You can throw on the Juneteenth thing again real quick. And then go to be right back again or something.
Juneteenth is right around the corner, celebrating the end of slavery and Black cultural heritage in the USA. The best Juneteenth celebration in Minnesota taking place on Sunday, June 16th on West Broadway from Lindell to Emerson Avenues North from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Starting with a parade at 10 a.m. with some of Minnesota's finest drill teams. Then, a Father's Day brunch. Bring the whole family to enjoy all of the fun and festivities. Live entertainment, influential guest speakers, fresh, good food. Everyone is a winner. Free mini carnival for children 16 years and younger. A slave exhibition focusing on the cash crops that enslaved Native Black Americans cultivated and created the wealth that built the United States of America. This year's event is sponsored by Black Visions, Marathon Petroleum Corporation, Best Buy, AMPAC, Don Samuels for Congress, the Sickle Cell Foundation of Minnesota, Hy-Vee, the Loppet Foundation, Our Streets Minneapolis, Marcus Mills for Ward 3, Minneapolis Regional Chamber of Commerce, Kemp's, Minnesota Pollution Control Agency, and Huntington Bank. For more detailed information, go to JuneteenthMinnesota.com or call 612-400-9500. Juneteenth is right around the corner, celebrating the end of slavery and Black cultural heritage in the USA. The best Juneteenth celebration in Minnesota will be taking place on Sunday, June 16th on West Broadway from Lindell to Emerson Avenues North from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Starting with a parade at 10 a.m. with some of Minnesota's finest drill teams. Then, a Father's Day brunch. Bring the whole family to enjoy all of the fun and festivities. Live entertainment, influential guest speakers, fresh, good food. Everyone is a winner. Free mini carnival for children 16 years and younger. A slave exhibition focusing on the cash crops that enslaved Native Black Americans cultivated and created the wealth that built the United States of America. This year's event is sponsored by Black Visions, Marathon Petroleum Corporation, Best Buy, AMPAC, Don Samuels for Congress, the Sickle Cell Foundation of Minnesota, Hy-Vee, the Loppet Foundation, Our Streets Minneapolis, Marcus Mills for Ward 3, Minneapolis Regional Chamber of Commerce, Kemp's, Minnesota Pollution Control Agency, and Huntington Bank. For more detailed information, go to JuneteenthMinnesota.com or call 612-400-9500. Juneteenth is right around the corner, celebrating the end of slavery and Black cultural heritage in the USA. The best Juneteenth celebration in Minnesota will be taking place on Sunday, June 16th on West Broadway from Lindell to Emerson Avenues North from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Starting with a parade at 10 a.m. with some of Minnesota's finest drill teams. Then, a Father's Day brunch. Bring the whole family to enjoy all of the fun and festivities. Live entertainment, influential guest speakers, fresh, good food. Everyone is a winner. Free mini carnival for children 16 years and younger. A slave exhibition focusing on the cash crops that enslaved Native Black Americans cultivated and created the wealth that built the United States of America. This year's event is sponsored by Black Visions, Marathon Petroleum Corporation, Best Buy, AMPAC, Don Samuels for Congress, the Sickle Cell Foundation of Minnesota, Hy-Vee, the Loppet Foundation, Our Streets Minneapolis, Marcus Mills for Ward 3, Minneapolis Regional Chamber of Commerce, Kemps, Minnesota Pollution Control Agency, and Huntington Bank. For more detailed information, go to juneteenthminnesota.com or call 612-400-9500. Juneteenth is right around the corner, celebrating the end of slavery and Black cultural heritage in the USA. The best Juneteenth celebration in Minnesota will be taking place on Sunday, June 16th on West Broadway from Lindell to Emerson Avenues North from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Starting with a parade at 10 a.m. with some of Minnesota's finest drill teams. Then, a Father's Day brunch. Bring the whole family to enjoy all of the fun and festivities. Live entertainment, influential guest speakers, fresh, good food. Everyone is a winner. Free mini carnival for children 16 years and younger.
Hey there, beautiful souls. Are you ready to add a sprinkle of sophistication to your drive? Enter Silk Sense, the ultimate way to level up every moment on the road. Step into your car and step into a realm of luxury with Silk Sense car fresheners. Each scent is carefully crafted to merge quality with indulgence, transforming even the quickest drive into a pampering session. Whether you're cruising down the highway or stuck in traffic, let Silk Sense wrap you in a veil of irresistible fragrance, turning each journey into a feast for the senses. Why settle for ordinary when you can embrace the extraordinary? Uncover Silk Sense today by visiting our website, silksensellc.com, and turn your everyday commute into a lavish retreat. Hey there, beautiful souls. Are you ready to add a sprinkle of sophistication to your drive? Enter Silk Sense, the ultimate way to level up every moment on the road. Step into your car and step into a realm of luxury with Silk Sense car fresheners. Each scent is carefully crafted to merge quality with indulgence, transforming even the quickest drive into a pampering session. Whether you're cruising down the highway or stuck in traffic, let Silk Sense wrap you in a veil of irresistible fragrance, turning each journey into a feast for the